Welcome to another episode of Nerd Stalker. I am Adolfo Ferranda at Nerd Stalker at A Ferranda at Twitter with my buddy
Greg Laurie, aka Social Greg on Twitter. Hey man, great week, huh?
Yeah, hot here in the Bay Area. Well, actually in Marin County.
Marin. We're fogged in right now, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. I forget. Yeah, it's so weird. We're so close. We're within just a, I don't know, 10, 15-minute drive here in Northern California, the Bay Area. And you can literally get like a 30-degree change. It's crazy.
I was freezing my butt off this morning. It was pretty cold.
Yeah. I went from 90, when I drove to this thing. But anyways, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So cool stuff we got coming up here. Let me see if I can share my screen.
Yeah, please.
One of the big events, again, the biggie of the biggies is Dreamforce, October 4 through 7 in lovely San Francisco, California. As you can see here, all Melinda Gates, Mark Benioff, of course. And U2. U2 is playing, for goodness sake.
U2?
Much bigger than that. U2 with an odd Smiths quote across its screen. But yeah, amazing event for all you business people, techies, educators, whatever. I mean, this thing applies to everyone every year. It's massive. One of the biggest events in San Francisco. And highly recommended. There's something for everyone at this thing, actually. And October 4 through 7 again in San Francisco, California, Dreamforce. Go to salesforce.com and you can see it there, /Dreamforce, /DF16 for Dreamforce 16. Or we'll post it on the Nerd Stalker site as well.
Yep. Nice. We're always there. We're always there now.
All right. What else we got going on? Let's get
we got the mileage tracking app.
Oh, yes. MileIQ. This is MileIQ here. So thanks to, let's see if we can get the spiel here. MileIQ is a app to track your mileage as we love to say here. And no, MileIQ, here we go. As you can see here, for the tech consultant, creative freelancers out there, MileIQ, they want to give a shout out to MileIQ. Number one, just use our code. They're great. Install it. It's a free app on your phone. NerdStalker20 is the promo code. You get 20% off the annual subscription. NerdStalker20.
Sounds good. MileIQ. Sounds good. Now, Unanimous. And lastly,
boom, here we go. Sawyer Som. So check us out at Wine Stalker. We're trying to figure out a name for this podcast, or Sawyer Som. I don't know. It's all terrible names right now, but we'll see. We're trying to figure it out. For the wine sommelier extraordinaire, Christopher Sawyer. Check him out here at sawyersom.com. And we just went to an amazing event with the legendary Dusty Baker. Has a wine, or produces a wine, I believe has a winery too, called I think it's Baker Winery Family, something like that. Baker Wine or whatever. Baker Winery.
Dusty Baker Family Wine.
Yeah, Baker Family Wine. But it was an incredible event next to AT&T Park here in San Francisco. Luckily, it was after they lost to the Giants, Washington Nationals. They were all in great spirits, and they all kind of showed up at this thing at the a new place called the Atwater next to in lovely San Francisco near Dog Patch area. And the upstairs was this wine tasting event, and it was actually a philanthropic event for the UCSF Children's Hospital there. So people were giving donations for that, which was really great. Professional baseball players everywhere, all around me, and they look like just kids or 20-somethings, and I forget I'm 100. So it's really bizarre. And I'm talking to these people like these kids, in my view, younger people, like they're just people hanging out, and then realize later someone comes up to me and like, oh my God, didn't you pitch against them and you're pitching tomorrow against us, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know nothing about baseball. And these are professional athletes all around me. And Vernon Davis was there, who I totally didn't recognize. I'm useless with this stuff. But it was humbling, very humbling. It was an honor to be there. Incredible. And check it out, sawyersom.com. A lot of great info.
Nice. Well, let's just get into it, huh? The picks of the week, finally. The golden age of open protocols? What are you talking about there, man?
Golden age of open protocols. Yeah. So thanks to avc.com for this. So yeah, protocols, it's a geeky topic, right? And the gist of this blog post is from this venture capitalist, Paul Graham, who's a legendary, very famous, amazing VC venture capitalist. And the gist of it is exactly, predominantly, it highlights Twitter, right? The problem with Twitter at this point. and things that let's back up, and things that we really appreciate that are open, that are sort of foundation for a lot of the technologies that we use, such as SMTP, IMAP, all these different sort of protocols for like email, web, as I just mentioned, and that type of thing, transfer of data, things like that are sort of foundational. And one of the things and that we don't appreciate, and how important they are, and how they haven't been really, no one's been able to monetize them in any real significant way. So they're never really an emphasis to improve upon them a whole bunch, except as a utility. So one of the things he highlights is, and I believe one of the companies that he was an early investor in was Twitter. And so the issues that Twitter's having now, and the early model of, things like when they were open to third-party developers really to utilize their sort of platform to create their own apps, right? Which they were forced to either acquire, or just sort of snuff out altogether, these type of startups, these other startups that were relying on Twitter integration. And what he's saying now, he's suggesting is, you don't need to do that anymore. And Twitter is kind of a utility at this point, and could be a utility, a very valuable utility, as we've seen in the past for other startups, right? And other apps and things like that, as a feature. Sure. I mean, iOS essentially does this with integration with Facebook and Twitter sort of seamlessly. If you log in and, we see Twitter authentication, things like that, and how Twitter and other companies could monetize using blockchain, is what he's suggesting now, and how this is sort of potentially a go forward strategy, not only for Twitter, possibly, maybe not, but for other startups that have yet to be created, right? And perhaps other existing startups, where they can utilize their utility, and instead of having snuff out the competition or what they perceive competition to be, to utilize in a third-party API kind of way, they instead could, offer something like a token type of system via the blockchain, right? So they create their own virtual currency, let's call them tweet bucks or whatever, and it would cost X amount of tweet, virtual currency to leverage Twitter, calls or whatever, however you want to integrate it with your particular app. So you could use that in different sort of scenarios with other type of utility type of apps that we know of or may not even know of yet. So it's an interesting sort of premise where these companies can, create virtual currency on the fly, use the blockchain, avoid any sort of weird costs with other types of banking or any kind of things like that, in order to make a buck, to monetize. Because this is sort of the problem that Twitter's running into now, is they're not growing, right, and financially. And I know the stockholders are not happy, and there's been a lot of leadership changes, a lot of criticism, a lot of employee sort of flight, and things like that. So it's just one of those sort of interesting perspectives in terms of, these open utilities and protocols, the use of blockchain, the use of virtual currency, and just the Twitter scenario at present.
Well, it goes to show you that, Facebook was able to pivot away from that, quite nicely, right? I mean, they could have been a utility.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Very easily. But, if you think about it, you got me thinking about it. There were a lot of third-party apps built on top of Twitter that, that are monetizing, like all those aggregator apps that we see. Mm-hmm. I mean, they bought TweetDeck, but, Hootsuite, right, one of them. Right. And then all the people providing deep analytics, right, all of those guys providing deep analytics, right, into who's looking at your, the type of person, where, when, their demographic of who they are. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, Twitter started to do a little bit of that, but almost too late to the game now, right?
Yeah, a couple that he points out was surmise for search. The reason, because, I mean, you could search Twitter and get a lot of valuable information from Twitter, right? And Tweety for iOS client was another one that they sort of like, that they sort of snuffed out or whatever,
Well, and it's amazing you just brought up is this, that, they were forced to buy these guys because they were becoming too relevant instead of trying to do it themselves and snuff them out by competition. That's an interesting thing. I mean, I could understand their position. I mean, and I think still to this day, they're fairly cash rich, even though they're burning through it quite, fast.
Right.
A lot of news items and things that we're hearing right now here in San Francisco, right, is that, they're they're getting primed for acquisition, right?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. It would sort of make sense at this point. Who knows?
Good luck, Jack.
Yeah. Good luck, guy.
Good luck, Jack.
All right. So what do we got here? We got Michigan police.
Yeah.
Printer,
Well,
what's going on?
let's bring that up here. So this happened more than a few weeks ago, but Michigan police 3D printed murder victim's fingers to unlock his phone. Now, you know, in the movies, right? We see those things where like the fingerprint detection system, they just take some guy's dead body and just moves it in there, or and they get into the vault or wherever, some high security place, right? Well, turns out that when a person's dead, the blood stops flowing and they become a non-hunter at that point. So a lot of these touch phones that are using 3D fingerprinting will work. So let's fast forward to the story. So a Michigan computer engineering professor, thanks to New York Daily News for this, cracked a murder investigation by 3D printing the victim's fingerprints in order to unlock the slain man's phone, to look for evidence that could lead, to the, criminals who killed him. Wow. And, this professor, Anil Jain, was approached last month because he's an expert in biometric technology, right? Which is like facial recognition, tattoo matching, fingerprint scanning. So, he's the bomb apparently. Wow. So he said, if he's a professor, so he says if this technology could help law enforcement in any way, a good service, it's a good service they can do, right? So I mean, it's kind of crazy. And he said that he had to 3D print these things, but also put some kind of conductive medium on it so it'll act like a body is behind the fingerprint to make it conductive. I mean, it was just incredible, the story. And that story was all over the news, but the New York Daily News kind of dug pretty deep. And, guys read through the gist of the article. It goes into some of the things which is some of the challenges in the technology that he was up against. And so, I think, it just shows, but I mean, this article also brought up, interesting, on the victim's side, you don't need a search warrant. Now, if it was used to against a alleged assailant, you had to get a search warrant for that. And so, there's a lot of interesting things that are coming out of this, because the ability to simulate now, human remains, human body parts, what does that all mean? I don't know, but it's good. All this technology is opening up this whole, law thing. If you
all these use cases, right? All these scenarios, it's crazy,
right? I just our 200-year-old laws weren't set up for 2020 technology, right? So now it's going to be interesting how all this thing pans out and how they catch up with it. I mean, we're having a hard enough time trying to figure out what to do with Social Security and the aging population. We're dealing with technology issues on the law side as well. So
that's fascinating. Yeah, I just heard some talk. I believe it was about the ramifications of sort of autonomous vehicles, right? How eventually, that the sort of byproduct of that is our own human driving skills will eventually atrophy. Right. It's just weird stuff like that, sort of these byproducts of things that we just sort of haven't really thought about in general yet,
Oh, yeah. When we interviewed that AI kind of think tank guy, Robert Atkinson, really great guy. He brought up a lot of things where, technology could help us, but there's always the flip side. It has a downside if it's used in the wrong way.
Yeah, sure.
So, and all these laws that are being created, he kind of pointed out in that interview that we did, it is global. It's not a singular case.
Right.
So, it's like what you're saying with the driving. How do you manage all that, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
And I think the whole law system might have to get kind of rethought at this point, and into use case scenarios, not global. It's unfortunate. Maybe that has to happen. So anyway, let's move forward. iOS opens up equals the death of apps. Ooh, what's that?
Yeah,
let's
so
talk about that.
This is something I was reading, I believe, in Mac Life magazine, sort of when it wasn't really on top of on that in particular, just kind of kicked off something in my head. I just read an article about the upcoming, new operating system and whole upgrade to the entire suite of the software of Apple's line. The new Watch OS, the iOS, the Mac OS now. So there's no more like OS 10, OS 11. It's just gonna be Mac OS from go forward. These kind of names, but it's really the upgrade, the next level, which is now in preview, right? So you could get like a public beta right now and test it out. I know they're open to that, but one of the things that sort of came from that was they're opening up iOS quite a bit more now, which is going to make developers very happy. Not quite to the level of what Android has open, but very close, very close. And once they dip their toes and they get some feedback, it's suspected they're going to quickly iterate and open up more stuff. They just do things very slowly and meticulously, and let other companies such as Google sort of be the testers in mass for them, and then they sort of move forward with their mass consumer platform solutions. That's their particular strategy, it seems like. One of the things was like this whole thought that I just lost my thought here. So the opening of these things. So one of the examples they had was now Apple Maps, for instance, right? Suddenly, since it's so open now, a company like Uber, you can just fire up your app and see your Uber car coming to you, or hail a Uber car via your iOS Maps, your Apple Maps application. So a native app without having to install the Uber app, right? Because it's like this open sort of protocol thing. So there's no more need to eventually download these full-on apps, go to a separate app, open this separate app in order to use its functionality. So it's just another sort of similar to the scenario before in a way, but not so like grim, in that we have to rethink the way we integrate with with our phones, that we're interacting with our phones. And instead of this app-centric sort of model, it's sort of like native, what comes with the phone kind of thing. You can think of them as apps or native functionality of your phone, with sort of services that sort of appear within the phone, right? Within the phone itself, or your particular device, desktop or watch or whatever. So this hailing a car functionality will appear within Maps. Suddenly there's no more having to open up Uber app, this kind of thing. And so you can think of that across other different applications too, that'll just seamlessly sort of appear in your native experience on your particular device. So the end, you can kind of see the end game. And my end game is apps are going to go bye-bye. It's app development eventually. It's going to be a slow road, or maybe not. But you're seeing this now already. Like when you saw Google I/O, they had something called instant apps, where it's basically that is sort of what they've done. Is there's no when you need to use a particular service, Uber for instance, or something like that, it only downloads the few services that it needs, right? So perhaps like some transactional integration with Uber's whatever e-commerce thing, or not, or just the service itself to call a particular car or something like that. But none of this other stuff like signing up or what, having a full-on app that you have to download, log in, install, this type of thing. It's just a little bits of services that sort of come in, as opposed to a big app that you have to open, install, and whatever. So you kind of get the gist of it, right?
Isn't it funny how it goes around in circles with these two big ass companies like Apple and Google? So Apple comes out with and creates the app market. Google duplicates them with their own marketplace, right? Their Play Store or whatever, right? Yeah. And now it seems like it's going the other way, where now Apple is forced to pivot to look like Google now.
But I mean, look at Microsoft. They're the prime sort of example of a company that had made their bread and butter on proprietary sort of applications and all this type of stuff, and they were forced. Ballmer, was forced to do a complete pivot when what's his name, Satya, whatever came, Nadal, whatever his name, came, and everything's open now. Everything is very open, and Microsoft, and they're doing some of the most interesting stuff that I've seen. Besides Google, on par with them. And I would have not thought that in a million years. And they're making significant inroads, especially in Windows 10, and the opening of their applications themselves.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's just the way it has to go. It's so interesting.
It just makes sense for Apple to do this, right? I mean,
yeah, and all these and it's interesting if you look at the whole startup economy. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, but if you look at the startup economy, it's all built on apps.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. These guys better be paying attention to this. This could be big.
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm looking at, right? So I look at that, and I look at the robotics and the AI type of thing, and the transition to the sort of the the gig economy type of thing, and how our younger people and our kids will have to maneuver to sort of project sort of where things are going without falling into the hype of things like virtual reality or whatever,
Oh, and it's crazy, right? Because, when you think about like this whole app thing, right? I know you and I probably work during the week no more than 10 or 12 apps, right? I mean, on our phones, I mean, our desktop could be totally different, but 10 or 12 apps, right? I mean, they say the average is maybe 25 that people download, 20 to 25 to 30, right?
Right.
So it obviously is tapped out, right? The app thing is tapped out. So I think you're absolutely right. It has to probably pivot this way now, where maps and everything else are just functions. And if you want to go to a restaurant,
so fast and furiously now, right? I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm one of those map guides, and it's interesting how they're sucking us into this, right? Google Maps, right? They're asking me to rate all these places like Yelp, right? But even further than Yelp, because they have the map, they want me to ask me certain questions as a guide. So does this place have wheelchair access? Does this place have, and they'll ask me 10 or 20 questions about this place. And what I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm adding to their database.
You're feeding them, right?
For this place. Yeah. I mean, I know what I'm doing. I'm just because I'm from freaking, level 4 guide or whatever they call it,
Right. I mean, look at Snapchat face, things. I mean, you're mapping your face for Snapchat, for God's sake. They have facial identity now, or Pokemon Go or other things. I mean, you're mapping the interior of your house. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh man, this is a great one. You definitely got to put this. We got to put this podcast on the iOS store, man. This is really kind of an interesting conversation. Yeah. Thanks, man. No, great.
All right, Amazon Launchpad. What's happening with that, man?
Well, you guys know about Amazon Launchpad, right? It's the startup marketplace that Amazon curates, right? And now, I was always wondering when they were going to do this, and now they have a dedicated curation spot just for Kickstarter projects. I mean, it has to be complete Kickstarter projects, but still, it's amazing, right? I think they're finally, Amazon's an amazing company because I think they use the power of their brand plus, the money behind them to do a lot of research. I know they do a lot of research. Yeah. And the researchers probably telling them that, a lot of people who buy on their site are early adopters. Yeah. So why not create this marketplace and get a piece of it? And if one of them breaks, they go into the main store. Everyone's happy, right? Startups are happy. They're happy. Great move. I think, especially for Kickstarter alumni, and we follow a lot of Kickstarter projects on our channel. And
very clever, man. Amazon is just killing it. I find myself more and more just falling into it. I just purchased, as a previous podcast I mentioned, the Amazon Fire Stick as just a kick, during Amazon Prime Day for like $25 or something like that.
That's a good deal.
And I just love this thing, man. I've been playing with it, and it is really cool, especially if you're a Prime member. This thing is like a no-brainer. My God. And cutting the cord, and you can sideload Kodi onto it, which is XBMC easily. If you're you don't even have to be very technical. No, just piece of cake, and do all kinds of really neat sort of extending of it. Because it's basically Android is really what it is, the underlying sort of technology. So there's some interesting things you can do with it, but Yeah, Amazon's killing it, man. Echo,
Dude.
Stick, this,
Alexa.
all kinds of different,
Echo, Alexa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Kickstarter sales,
I mean, going back to that previous thing, I guess Alexa really is what you were saying in this previous thing that we were doing, right? It's just an object, right?
The device itself, the Echo is just a piece of hardware, but the
Right.
technology, Alexa, underlying technology, they're integrating that now, even in the Amazon Fire Stick. So in your remote, you press it and you use, Alexa, do this, do that, or whatever, open that. So that technology is sort of becoming pervasive in their hardware as well.
Oh man, that's incredible.
So it's fun.
Oh man,
yeah, fun to watch.
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, guys, just startups, just get onto that bandwagon because it's there for you. You have to just get curated, but if you have a great product, you're on the big Amazon store. So go do it, man. Okay, speed round.
Yeah, wow. Motobag. Yeah, so this is Motobag. Let's see if I can play this thing.
I love this thing. I totally love this thing.
So it's the world's first motorized rideable luggage. You can see here they're on Indiegogo. Really neat, actually. It's been designed by I believe it was a motorcycle company that does like these fast racing motorcycles, and they're using really state-of-the-art sort of equipment, for this thing. Actual like super light foot pegs, durable pegs, this handlebar thing, the technology in it, rechargeable. You can charge your devices. They have a full device thing. It fits into the actual, as you can see here, the actual carry-on section. So this is like an actual functioning, carry-on device, piece of luggage. And you'll see here, this is the charging station they're sort of demoing here for your devices because it holds this big charge, and you can get it through TSA and all kinds of things. Legally, it seems really fun. If you're a hardcore traveler and you want to have fun, like going across something like, I don't know, the Dallas airport, which is probably the biggest one I've ever been in, which is completely insane, or like in Taipei when I was there, holy hell, I could have used this thing to get from place to place. Really fun, kind of neat. Motobag, check them out. Just do Google Motobag and they'll show up on Indiegogo. Really interesting stuff here.
God, how did they? I'm just thinking, how did they film this in the airport? But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, that's wonderful. I saw that on a lot of the tweets going out, and it's
supposed to handle really neat and everything really well, and yeah.
Oh gosh,
I love this chick. There's this woman in the power suit and the heels. That's
right. Yeah, especially the old middle-aged guy who's trying to catch up or running down the corridor to catch his plane. Right?
Yeah, they like show this.
And she's just chilling. She's chilling.
Yeah,
she's chilling. Oh, I love it. Wow, good for you guys. Good for you. Wow. Speed round. All right. Well, talking about Alexa earlier.
Yeah.
We got a vanity mirror, and this is a group of young people from they're from like a few startup accelerators, one on the East Coast in Boston, MIT, one Google Ventures, I believe, GV Capital they call it now, not Google Ventures, right? And basically it's exactly what we were kind of talking about last year, right? Smart mirror.
Yeah, smart mirror.
Right?
They went with it.
Yeah. This is cool, dude. This is really cool. Yeah. I mean, this is the bomb. I mean, this is kind of cool. And again, going back to our Alexa conversation, this is a big Alexa thing, right? This is not it just surfs the web for whatever you want to do. You want to go order something, it just go tell, you go do it, right? So, it still has a lot to go. I don't think it's been fully tapped out. It's basic stuff, but I think this has some pretty big upside. I think
it's got legs. Is that what you're saying, Greg?
It's got legs. It got legs. I think if Alexis was behind this, it'll kick ass. So. But anyway, check it out on our channel.
Very neat.
I thought that was pretty cool. All right, speed round.
All right, so this is a robotic suitcase that follows you around like a puppy. So as you can see here, some of the product images. Yeah, really neat.
You're in the traveling this week, huh?
Yeah, so this is Co-War Robot R1 is the world's first carry-on suitcase that rolls along with you. So instead of riding it, it just sort of follows you around. So this one's designed to free your hands from holding or rolling luggage while traveling. The 20-inch case uses multi-sensor fusion tech and a robot motion control algorithm to allow autonomous following and obstacle avoidance. A lot of really smart technology in this thing happening. So yeah, it tops speed of 4.5 miles an hour. It's faster than the average person's walking speed and can go up and down 15-degree slopes. By touching the handle, you can easily switch to manual mode, and you can still use it as a regular old, piece of luggage kind of.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it uses obviously like a sensor. It has a what they call co-eye, a set of sonar and cliff detection sensors. The Suitcase is constantly collecting, sending data back to the CoMore system. With a simple double tap on a bracelet that you wear, it's called the R1 bracelet. The CoMove system will plan a path and navigate around obstacles, making its way back to you. There's also a locking system called CoLock. They patented proximity alarm and embedded GPS, so your belongings guaranteed safe. Even if you accidentally lose or misplace your luggage, you can easily find its location on your app. Thanks to its onboard GPS, smart lock system can detect the presence of the R1 bracelet, automatically locks itself after you leave an area, even has a fail-safe combination lock and TSA locks. You can do charge on the go. R1 uses a 96.5 watt-hour portable power bank as its power source, so you can easily charge your devices also. This is sort of a recurring theme with these things, it looks like, right? Your devices directly from the power bank or with integrated USB ports on the Suitcase. The power bank is easily removable, making airport security checks a breeze. So pretty fun.
Nice.
All these little photos here of stylish people charging their stuff with their luggage and walking around, in fancy European cities, holding hands like dorks, and having these things falling around while having smoothies and being dorks in general. Cool hardware.
Is this a European brand?
I don't know.
Yeah, just it sure looks like it. But anyway,
speaking of European, the UN, what do they want?
Hey, I want to solve world hunger.
Hey, how about that? I like too.
I love this article because it's like it reminds me of the days I was always presenting as a product manager in this big ass company, and like I put some elaborate scheme up. Then my boss, the general manager, go, Greg, we're not trying to solve world hunger here. I always remember that. So now, yes, we want to solve
burgers.
World hunger. Yeah. And so the UN, the United Nations World Food Program, WFP, another acronym, TLA, is trying to solve world hunger. and they started this Accelerator program kind of under wraps last year in Munich, and now they just announced its launch. And if you wanted to apply for this and you have some ideas on how to make food and other things sustainable for people that need it, this is the place to do it. Yeah,
nice.
Hey, this is it, man. And if you're a startup, you have some great ideas in that, apply and hope you guys get in. It is Munich, but October's pretty fun there, guys.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And you can drive a BMW.
Germany's a happening place, man. Totally. From what I hear, it's great.
Yeah, you get your BMW at the same time, so everyone's
beautiful.
Happy. Yeah. All right, dude. All right, let's get to it.
All right, tip time.
Go for it.
All right. So my tip is a new IDE that I've just stumbled upon, which is really gaining a lot of traction. Speaking of Microsoft, and here's a great example of something they've completely opened up. It's called Visual Studio Code. This is a free IDE tool for any of you sort of web app developers or whatever. And it's sort of on par with something like an Atom or a Brackets. It's completely open. It's completely free. It's extensible. There's tons of extensions for this thing. It's really nice looking too, as you can see here. It looks like this. Really, there's great integration with Git, GitHub, as you can see. Great IntelliSense debugging extensions. Great IntelliSense, all the things that you would expect from a great IDE, and integrates with all kinds of languages here, as you can see from this sort of this code. So something typically, Visual Studio itself is typically a really expensive license. Visual Studio Code is completely free, completely open, and thanks to Microsoft for making this happen. As you can see, it runs obviously on Windows, but also runs fantastic on OS 10 and Linux. And I have it installed on my OS 10 machine, and it's great. It works great. So I'm really having fun sort of falling into this particular IDE. Check it out at code.visualstudio.com. Here's just a view of some of the extensions. There's a whole marketplace for extensions. So things if you want to integrate with Ruby, all the Cordova tools, REST clients, all kinds of popular things, Go, linting type of things, Chrome extension type of integration, C#, Python. The list goes on and on. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Visual Studio Code. Give it a try.
Nice. Wow. You are the UX and design medium here on Nerd Stalker. The medium.
All right. So what do we got here? 7 incredibly useful Facebook hacks.
And I'm the social media medium here. So anyway, Facebook, actually has some incredible hacks that you probably don't know about. And thanks to Harold Deming, I4Harold on Twitter for this one. I just saw that this morning, so I wanted to share it with you guys. So I think a lot of people spend a lot of time on Facebook, but nearly only probably, we're using 10% of its capability. So if you go down the list, he has some great 7 things there, like share a post with everyone except one person. So like if you want to keep something from your boss or someone else, we won't go into all that other stuff that it can be. You could do that. They'll show you how to do that. Now, I implement this immediately. Have Facebook stop automatically playing videos in your feed. So I believe honestly,
for sure, man.
I stopped that, baby.
God, YouTube is doing that now in my phone.
It's crazy. I don't like that. I want the choice to at least scope out and read what's about the more I want to play.
It's a data, gobbler too.
Oh, dude. I'm just
cool.
I was so pissed about that. Yeah, but anyway, that's another story for another show.
Yeah.
Change your relationship without learning the note for that. I'm not sure how many people will use this, but it might be useful. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you picked up picked up the ex of one of your boyfriends or girlfriends.
yeah. You don't want to let them. Yeah.
You don't want to start World War III there.
Or maybe you're just a player. You know what I mean?
You're just a player.
You got multiples.
No,
don't hate the player, hate the game.
So you could teach people how to pronounce your name correctly. And let me tell you, there's some long ass names there I need to do, especially in the Japanese side, that I need to pronounce a little bit correctly. So that's pretty cool. I thought that was kind of neat. Disable Facebook messages read receipts. Oh my God. That is lovely. I like that one. Or export birthdays to calendar. That's pretty useful, actually. That's a useful thing. Yeah. I didn't know you could do that. And then save articles for later. We think, the problem is as more and more people, and this is Twitter's problem, actually. We were just talking about Twitter earlier. This stream of stuff is just so fast. You may want to just leave it for later. So you could bookmark some things, leave it and read it later. Articles. There's your 17 Facebook hacks today. So get it
nice,
now.
Man. All right.
What's next for you?
All right, my next tip is something I stumbled upon called Lumen, which is a lot of fun. It's a very simple little type of app that you can download. I believe it's on GitHub now too. It's open type of thing. And what it does, it's a magic with the Lumen magic auto brightness based on screen content. So the author of this, the creator of this, he does software development in terminal. And when coding, he frequently switches back and forth between the terminal, which has a dark background, in the web browser, right? Which usually sites have a light background, white backgrounds, sort of like the right side of this page here. So it's a big sort of distinction. Problems, as you can see in the animated GIF here, with a dark sort of IDE, and then you get to a web page, like this Git page is shown as super bright white. So a big problem with the setup is laptop's backlight is either so dim that you can't read the text in the terminal, or so bright that you're blinded by looking at the websites. And that problem is really bad at night. And it's really bad when you're trying to get sort of settled to go to sleep and things like that. And bright, blue light is not good for you. Many laptops support automatic brightness control, but it's usually not very useful. Both Mac OS and Windows support setting screen brightness automatically based on ambient brightness, but the feature rarely comes in handy. It seems to cause more harm than good. Most people usually keep it disabled on their laptops. I don't really. I utilize Flux, which is a different tool. But there's a better way. What if laptops set screen brightness automatically, but based on screen contents rather than ambient brightness. So he did some research, and he couldn't find any software, so he wrote his own tool. And this is Lumen. This is how Lumen was born. Lumen's a tiny menu bar app for Mac OS that magically sets screen brightness based on screen contents. You can see it in action in the GIF there. You can see the configuration, the early prototype, and there's source code and downloads here, links to at Git and to install it. It looks like a lot of fun. Give it a try. It's a early prototype right now, but it seems really neat when something that can be iterated on, and I'm sure it'll be really cool very soon.
That's kind of cool. So basically, your contrast levels are either black on white or white on black, right? Yeah, kind of like what Adolfo likes. But
I don't limit myself like some people.
But anyway, that's pretty cool. I like that. That's a great tip, man. Thanks for bringing that to our attention, our Nerd Stalker audience's attention.
You bet. All right, so Greg, you got your final tip here.
Well, startups. We believe in tech startups and design and you, right? So here's a startup thing here. Well, a lot of our stuff is startup things, but there's 6 free things for online tools for small businesses or startups. And, I think, you've used a lot of these, right? Adolfo, Trello, I think you've used.
Yeah, love Trello.
Prezi, I've used. Feedly, I've used.
Feedly's great.
I haven't used Mint. Have you used Mint yet?
Oh, yeah, I use Mint. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For finance, yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And Setmore is a new one. I haven't really.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that.
No, but that one's a little bit out of the list. I'm a little more lukewarm on because scheduling unlimited appointments. I don't know.
Oh,
you got to convince me that I need another calendar and a to-do reminder.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. It's like we were talking about the limitation of apps earlier, right? I'm trying to cut down, not add more, sort of. So.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I'm on a diet. I'm on an app diet right now.
It's got to be worth it. It's got to be really worth my time.
Well, I thought it was a conspiracy apps at first. We'll go back to this real quick. I thought that the makers were making you buy the higher, gigabyte whatever to make the apps work better. So you could put 10 million apps instead of only 16, whatever, Yeah. And so your 16 gigabyte pad versus your 32 gigabyte pad, you can put more apps essentially. That's the way I kind of look at it, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was a way for them to actually, bump up the ASPs on their devices. But
speaking of, thank you, Apple, for getting rid of the 16 gigabyte devices minimum. Thing is useless.
I love it. Totally. Now it is.
Yeah.
I think when it first came out, it wasn't too bad, but you're right on the edge. But anyway, check out these tools if you're starting a small business. They're really good productivity tools, and they're free. So, yeah, thanks to our friends at eReleases or PR Fuel for that one. Thank you. All right.
Well, everyone, thanks so much for watching again. And you can get more information at nerdstalker.com. You can check us out on YouTube, at youtube.com/nerdstalkertv, and all the other places on iTunes. We appreciate the thumbs up if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this, please give us a nice rating on whatever particular device or service you're using to listen the podcast to. And again, I am Adolfo Ferranda at @Ferranda on Twitter, at Nerdstalker on Twitter with Greg. And Greg, how do we get a hold of you?
I'm Greg Valoria, as he said, at Social Greg on Twitter, or you could email us, Adolfo@nerdstalker.com or socialgreg@nerdstalker.com. Feel free to interact, and we're getting a lot of interaction. That's for sure.
We love it.
We love it. We love it, and we love you.
Yeah.
Anyway, be careful out there, guys. See you next week.
All right. See you next week. Thanks.
All right.